Were the Rays buyers or sellers at the trade deadline?
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we are Kevin and Ulysses.
And we are lifelong Rays fans who have been podcasting about the Tampa Bay Rays since 2019.
On today's show, the Rays finished their 4-game series against the Yankees. That we'll discuss later on in the show. In a few minutes, we'll talk about the possible impact of all the trades the Rays made, but we'll begin with recapping all the moves for the Rays as they sent out Taj Bradley, Jose Caballero, Curtis Mead, and Zach Littell, among others.
But first, we got to tell you that this episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com today and use promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. Only valid through September 30th. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Kevin, there were so many moves done today.
A flurry of moves
across the league, but the Rays were incredibly active, especially in the last couple hours. Let's recap all the names that the Rays have traded away and acquired.
Yes, it is very lengthy. As we mentioned at the top of the program, Taj Bradley, Jose Caballero, Curtis Mead, front of the program, Zach Littell, Paul Gervais, Ben Rortvedt, and very quickly, Adam Siranowski. I guess that's the best I can do on that one. And then the Rays acquired Hunter Fedducia, Brian Van Bell, Everson Pereira, Griffin Jax, and Adrian Hauser. And this doesn't even include what they did with the catching maneuvers earlier on the week with Danny Jansen and Nick Fortes. So par for the course for Erik Neander and company right up to the very last moment. You always wonder, well, hey, we're getting really close to the deadline. And then the reports come in. This guy's been moved. That guy's been moved. Another guy's been moved. And, you know, it's pretty much the names that we had bandied about. Caballero was mentioned.
Yes.
Bradley was mentioned.
Yes.
Mead was mentioned.
Yes.
Littell was mentioned.
Yes.
So, you know, I can't say I'm totally shocked, nor can I say that I'm totally upset. Like, I understand all these moves in a vacuum.
Yes, and I believe that this means that the Rays believe there's still an opportunity for October with this team. That is for sure what I'm getting from the front office here, because all of those pieces. Again, Zach Littell, Curtis Mead, Jose Caballero, Taj Bradley, there's really good value in there. There is a lot of team control, but it does seem like they're like on the outskirts of the core of what you think of what the Tampa Bay Rays are. Let's talk about Taj Bradley, sent to AAA. Curtis Mead, up and down, logjam has not given him the right amount of playing time.
He's been in a logjam for years, honestly.
Exactly. And Zach Littell, you know, he's walking away. And Jose Caballero, he's just a fun guy to plug in any lineup. So, of course, he's going to be attractive to teams. So, if you look at it that way, I believe that they said, okay, what's the quote-unquote extra fat on our roster that has value, and we can get something back not only for this season, but for the next, because, you know, Griffin Jax, Adrian Hauser, those are names that were bandied about for other teams that are in a better position in the standings than the Rays, and the Rays got them. It's very interesting, especially I think Hunter Fedducia is going to be great, but how about Griffin Jax, man? Did that kind of surprise you?
I mean, as far as the names, I know that we had never mentioned Griffin Jax, but as far as relief acquisitions, I understand it and I'm pleased by it. I know that his numbers aren't that great this year, but what he's done previously has been really impressive. And it seemed like Taj Bradley being sent down to AAA and dealing with all the issues, it was only a matter of time that there was not going to be a spot for him, even with trading Zach Littell, because you have a guy named Joe Boyle, because you have a guy named Dane McClanahan, and you have other guys on the come up, and you need relief help. And Griffin Jax, just take a moment to look at his metrics and numbers, because he has firepower and he strikes out a lot of batters and he gets a lot of swing and miss. And to me, just on the surface, looking on the outside, again, he'll get the Kyle Snyder treatment, but he's listed at having 5 pitches. I think you can, pare that down. Hey, give us your 2-3 best pitches. You're a 1-inning reliever. That's all we need from you, and do your thing and be successful, throw strikes, and the rest is history.
And with Griffin Jax, I know in 46 innings pitched, 72 K. So Kevin, you're completely right. This guy is going to strike people out in the 98th percentile in both whiff percentage and in K rate, chase rate, 100th percentile. So he will miss bats. That's exactly what you need at the back end of the bullpen. And if Fairbanks is not going to be doing that, because we have seen a little bit of a struggle there with Fairbanks being able to be that guy.
Right.
Well, now a back-to-back Fairbanks Griffin Jax makes it incredibly attractive. And I know for some of you guys are still looking at ERA for relievers. I beg you, please do not look at the ERA. I know it says 4.50, but please, we should know relievers ERA is incredibly volatile. One bad outing and you're going to suffer that.
Yeah, it takes a full season to get it back down to par.
And in April, I saw that he had kind of a back-to-back awful showings where he allowed 3 runs versus the Mets and then 4 runs versus the Braves. Really, everything else in the game logs, it's squeaky clean. So I feel like this is definitely a buy now, and it makes it incredibly interesting because it is a buy move. It is not a soft buy. It is an actual buy move.
Right. That is a need for need thing. And, the Twins have had a good track record with former Rays starters or prospect starters, namely Joe Ryan. I don't think Taj Bradley is going to be a Joe Ryan, but I think he fits what they're looking for, and Griffin Jax fits what we're looking for. I would, if I had to label this trade deadline for the Rays, I would say not a total sell, not a total buy, but like a very soft sell. I don't necessarily like the value coming back. I don't know if that's going to equal the value or the WAR of the guys that are outgoing this season, but I think they set themselves up to still, try to win games and have a run in October, although it's not looking pretty at 2 games under 500, especially when you give Jose Caballero to the Yankees. That's kind of a tough move.
I know, Kev, but really, I would go the opposite. I think it's as a soft buy because you take Zach Littell out of the rotation. He's walking away, and then you replace him with Adrian Hauser. Maybe you
is Hauser as good as Littell is right now, though?
Out of the 11 games that Adrian Hauser has started, 9 of those 11 have been quality starts. Now, again, he's not I'm going to strike you out guy. No, he is a ground ball pitcher. He's a contact guy. It does sound a lot like Littell. So it is interesting why they went out to get a guy that they were, value for value. And we will explain that in the third segment,
right?
Which is why they did the Littell trade. But Adrian Hauser, now this move plus Griffin Jax plus Everson Pereira from the Yankees, it fills needs for right now. Which, if you're filling needs for right now, I don't think we can qualify it as a sell. And I think we're in between. You're saying soft sell. I'm saying soft buy, which means that they were both. But really, ultimately, Kevin, I think that this truly means that the Rays still think that even they're 2 games below 500, that there's still an opportunity here to make it to October.
Let me just put it like this. And again, it's one of those situations where, it kind of shows that Erik Neander was playing 3D chess if we're having this argument right now. But at the end of the day, the budget is a net positive for the Rays in terms of payroll. Like, they did save money on payroll, where if they're true buyers, you think they're bringing on payroll, and that's not really the case in this situation. The other thing too that I would consider is all the guys that were sent out, or a majority of the guys that were sent out. Like, if we're doing a 1-for-1 of, hey, is this guy a quasi established major leaguer or has X number of reps at the major leagues, I don't know if that equals out of all the guys that they got back. Like, Ben Rortvedt has more reps, a lot more reps than Fedducia at the major league level, for example.
Fair,
and, know, Caballero versus Everson Pereira, so on and so forth.
I feel like that is correct, but I do believe that that's where the Rays can succeed the most, is looking at the financials and yet having the value being brought back, being very close to what they're giving up. And I feel like, again, I think this really signifies that the Rays are saying the American League is weak, and we don't care that we're 2 games below 500. We're a handful away from the third wild card spot. Yeah. Nobody's running away with it. There's still a chance for October. And boy, do we still have a lot to talk about, Kevin. But first, we got to talk about 5 Hour Energy, and then we'll talk about a little bit more about the trade acquisitions.
Are you feeling drained watching Rays baseball this season? Well, it's time to fuel up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This energizing shot might just be what you need to make it through 9 innings of Rays baseball. With bold grape, ginger, and lime flavors, it's like your favorite golf drink minus the alcohol. Perfect for sinking putts or enduring extra innings. Whether you're at Steinbrenner Field or on your couch, 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers that extra boost to keep you alert even during those low-scoring pitchers' duels. So go ahead, visit 5hourenergy.com and use promo code LOCKEDONGOLF for 20% off your order. This offer is valid until September 30th on one order only and can't be combined with other promotions or subscription orders. So go ahead, use code LOCKEDONGOLF for 20% off. Well, Ulises, we may disagree on the definition of buy, sell, soft buy, soft sell, whatever we want to qualify it as. I mean, I still think if we're grading Erik Neander, and it's probably all too soon to determine, even though I'm sure the rankings are coming out on social media and news articles and so forth. I mean, to have so many different mechanics and logistics going on, I think he did a great job as far as, you know, the guys you get rid of and the guys you get back for. You might not see all the impacts of that in 2025, but they definitely, you know, they're still going to be quasi competitive this year. But I think in 2026, 2027 and beyond, we'll be in a good place. And like you said, they cut off the fat with some of those bit pieces that are kind of in AAA, Major League, Quad A limbo. You know, what's Taj Bradley going to be? What's Curtis Mead going to be? What's Ben Rortvedt?
Ultimately, they did something that we really asked for in this podcast, which do right by the fan base. Do not trade Brendan Lowe. Do not trade Yandy Díaz. And again, that's why I would go back to my point in the first segment, which is, you know, they still believe that there's a chance to October. If there wasn't a chance for October, Yandy Díaz is gone. Brendan Lowe is gone. Heck, Pete Fairbanks is gone. But with Griffin Jax next to Pete Fairbanks, now you've made that bullpen a little bit better. With Adrian Hauser added to the rotation while Zach Littell is gone, you've either made the rotation better or at least kept it the same.
Right.
That's good news. And then on the hitting side, yes, Caballero is going to be felt. The speed, the camaraderie in the clubhouse, you're going to feel that. But now you've made sure that the spots for Brandon Lowe and Yandy Díaz are there. They're steady.
Right.
I think honestly, they did right by the fan base.
Yeah. And in order to be competitive in 2026, you can't be without one or both those guys. Like, you can't put all the weight on Junior Camanero's shoulders,
right,
and Jonathan Aranda's shoulders. Like, Yandy and Brandon, even though they'll be 32 and 35 respectively, they still have enough left in the tank to be successful. And I know for the Rays, 11.5 mil, 12 mil, that's pretty pricey. But for the value those guys provide, even if they're not fully healthy, like, they exceed that value based on WAR, even if they only play 100, 110 games. So it's ultimately a net benefit at the end of the day. And who's to say depending on how things go next year, there's always the possibility of trading them then. But I think, if you want to build some momentum for 2026 and give these guys a shot in their true home base of Tropicana Field, like, let's see what Caminero and Yandy and Lowe and hopefully Ha-Seong Kim and Aranda and others can do back in the friendly confines of Tropicana Field.
Exactly. That's the thing. That Steinbrenner is going to be a momentary thing, a very temporary thing. So why not keep the group together? And you don't do that unless you don't think that there's a chance for October. Really, it's great. You mentioned their salaries. Yandy will be making $12 million next year, and yes, he'll be 35, but he has shown time and time again that he's productive. And Brandon,
and he's a DH. I mean, it's not like you're rolling him out there at third base for 150 games a year.
Exactly.
I think a 35-year-old that works out as much as he does should be able to step up to the plate and jog around the bases, jog to first, jog to second, once a game, twice a game.
Yes, exactly. He might be a station-to-station guy, extra base hits. Okay, maybe we'll see him actually use his speed. But and then going back to the financials, Brandon has a team option for $11.5 million in 2026. That's going to get picked up.
Right.
He'll be 32 years old, and like you're saying, the value that they provide, yes, 11, 12 mil could be seen as big time money for the Rays, but the value overshadows that 1,000%. And you're not going to get Yandy Díaz value and production for cheaper. It's very difficult to get that value. And Brandon Lowe, same thing. It's very difficult to get that value for $750,000, for $800,000. So you're going to have to spend somewhere. Spending money on Yandy Díaz and Brandon Lowe is a good thing.
Yes, and also, again, say the Rays, which very well could happen, finishing 500 or under 500. I mean, right now they're 54 and 56. So things aren't looking that great. And then we know about their stretch in August and the rest of the season and all the travel that they have to do. You got to kind of keep the fan base engaged a little bit for next year. Now, one thing I'll say, we might quibble about buyers, sellers at the deadline. One thing we can't say is that this was a quote unquote fire sale. Not like last year.
No.
Were any all-stars traded by the Rays this year?
No.
So that's a win in my book. You didn't trade the equivalent of Isaac Paredes or Randy Arozarena or fill in the blank.
And I know that we're making a point about Brandon Lowe and Yandy Díaz here, but you really might as well just add Pete Fairbanks to the list.
Yeah.
He is a fan favorite. He has been incredibly productive at the back end of the bullpen. Yeah, do the strikeouts decreasing and make you wonder, if he'll be the guy going forward instead of Griffin Jax? Yeah, sure. But you kept the band together. And I think, honestly, that's going to give hope to the clubhouse. I believe that you keeping Yandy Díaz, you keeping Brandon Lowe, not only you did right by the fan base, but you're doing right by Ryan Pepio.
Yes.
You're doing right by Shane Baz, and you're doing right by Junior Caminero, because you are saying to them, there's still hope. We believe in you. Yes, we made some trades, but we made trades not only to get better for the future, but we made trades to get better right now.
I agree. All right, we will wrap things up with a guy that people might not be thinking about, but probably should. And it's one of the Rays catchers that they acquired. We'll talk about that next on the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, people, we know that you're like Kevin and I, and you know that we like to rep our team. Look at us wearing jerseys and hoodies, and you now can do that with hats made from Game Day Hue. They make clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. Kevin and I are wearing our Game Day Hue hats right now, and it's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course like Kevin does, or anywhere in between. Perhaps you can use it when you go to Steinbrenner Field. So today, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. Again, that's GameDayHue.com, and use code MLB15 for 15% off. So, Kevin, Zach Littell's gone. You receive an arm from the Reds in Adam Servinowski, and then you flip him. You say, you know what, Adam, it's been nice knowing you. They pulled a Trey Turner.
Hopefully he didn't book a flight.
Hopefully not. And you send him away because really the big thing was that it was a 3-team trade.
Yeah.
And you get a catcher called Hunter Fedducia. Now, a lot of people on social media's reaction, I just really found it kind of strange because they started saying, a 28-year-old catcher, what are we doing? Okay, let's look at the numbers first and know which organization Hunter Fedducia is actually coming from. He's had multiple years in the minors. Yes, he's almost seen 5,000 pitches in the minor leagues. But guess what? He's had multiple years where he's got 10-plus home runs. In 2025, he's got 9. A 16% walk rate, a 122 WRC plus, top 10% in chase percentage, low whiff rates, hits the ball hard. Average exit velo is there, and he's known as a plus defender that has had success in the upper levels with his bat. So you're telling me the Rays got a catcher who is good defensively and who has smashed AAA? I like that. In fact, I'm going to be reading you guys the slash lines from 2023 to 2025. In 2023, he had 279, 387 on base, a 451 slug. That's an 838 OPS. In 2024, 284 average, 409 on base, 428 slugging. That's an 837 OPS. And then this year, he's hitting 290 with a 399 on base and a 467 slug for an 866 OPS. If you guys have been keeping track of that, the numbers keep going up, up, up. He has nothing else to prove in AAA. He should be the starting catcher for the rest of 2025 to find out who is Hunter Fedducia.
Really? So you would pick him over Nick Fortes for the rest of the year?
100%. 100%. I mean, I think the Rays right now have the ability to do something that they've never been able to do, which is a guy that they can trust for most games behind the dish and at the dish.
Okay.
I know it could be an Alex Jackson situation where a guy smashes AAA and then can't seem to have any luck in the Major League Baseball level. For sure that could happen. But why don't you find out? Why not have an Alex Jackson experience with Hunter Fedducia? Because if you're doing it for Alex Jackson, you have to do it with this guy who might have 2 years of great baseball in him. He's 28. So why not enjoy maybe the last type of prime that he could possibly get in this type of season where it's not like surely you're going to October, but if you do, it'd be really nice to find out who Hunter Fedducia actually is.
So when you're saying being the starting catcher for the remainder of the season, you want him to get 60, 70% of the reps and have Nick Fortes get 30 to 40%, with the understanding that we pretty much know what Fortes is as a player. Let's put a long leash on Fedducia, especially if the Rays. I guess my thought is, if you really have a dream and ideation of making the playoffs this year, it's tough to put a guy at that position that only has 7 games of major league experience.
I know that that's the big con against this move, but I'm feeling bullish about Hunter Fedducia. And maybe
how do you get a job if you you have to have 5 years of experience to have this job? Well, I can't get experience unless I get the opportunity.
Very good. Exactly. That's where I am. And honestly, from Matt Thaiss, from Nick Fortes, or Hunter Fedducia, if you look at the numbers, at least in the minors, man, it's very intriguing what Hunter Fedducia could be for the Rays. And why? I'm just thinking, why not?
He is coming from a very well-to-do, organized ball club that knows what they're doing, not just in the majors, but in the minors, led by Andrew Friedman. So I feel like the understanding is, when you're acquiring somebody from the Dodgers, they've been coached up pretty well and know the fundamentals and know how to play ball games. And you've been in that culture for a little bit. And it's just, the Dodgers have a guy named Will Smith. You're not going to, no matter who you are, you're not really usurping him for an opportunity.
And Austin Barnes has been a mainstay there as well. So you really are kind of log jammed. And so, you're not going to get a lot of opportunities. Again, I know it's bullish to just say,
it is bullish, yes.
A guy, but I feel like if you right now, you have a great opportunity where you can squeak by and get a spot in October for the playoffs. Sure. I do believe that that's exactly what the Rays have right here. But if it doesn't work out, you also get 52 games of a sample size to see who is Hunter Fedducia. Is he a guy that did we just buy an Alex Jackson, or did we find something that had been missing this whole time, that we've been talking about for a whole long time?
And I mean, at the very least, it breeds competition and bringing out the best in everybody, because I feel like with this move, Nick Fortes is a little bit on notice. Dominic Keegan on notice. Logan Driscoll on notice. Whoever else you have in the organization at that position on notice. Matt Thaiss, for example. And I mean, with Fedducia, I don't necessarily agree that he should be the primary. I'm okay with a 50-50, a 60-40, something like that. But based on him being a lefty and Fortes being a righty, as far as hitting, Fedducia should get a number of opportunities if the Rays are trying to take advantage of the platoon situation.
And the platoon situation would lean towards him. If he's the lefty, he would see more righties than lefties.
I mean, you got to try something. Like, I am totally fine with substituting Fedducia for Rortvedt or Thaiss, because I feel like those are, that's replacement level performance right there. So go ahead and take a flyer on this guy, roll him out there, see what he can do. I just wonder, with having so limited major league reps, can you step in right away and deal with the pitching staff and hit at the same time? Like, Nick Fortes at least has been able to prove that with the Marlins, and he's been on a really hot ride the last 30 games. So, it's a tough balancing act. Now, I would say that, like, if the Rays really fall out of contention and they're 5, 6, 7 games under 500, then I'd say let it ride. Give Fedducia as many opportunities as you can. Fortes is pretty much, possibly, perhaps, as good as he's ever going to be. We know what he is.
With Fortes,
Fedducia, we need to see what he can do.
Fortes seems to me a known quantity. Matt Thaiss seems to be a known quantity. Who can really say what Hunter Fedducia can do in Major League? So, I'm again, you have 52 games, and if the Rays record wasn't 54 and 56, and there was 60 and X, or 65 and X, I wouldn't be this bullish. But this opportunity right here presents itself that you can actually still push forward while still trying out a very important piece. Because imagine if Hunter Fedducia actually works out. I mean, then we might actually have what we've always wanted, a catcher behind the dish that is good defensively and then doesn't harm you at the plate. You're not getting angry when their walk-up song starts playing in the stadium. You don't get frustrated. You're actually looking forward to it. It's something that some teams have, some luck, aka the Orioles. Orioles had Weeders for a long time and Adley for a while. I know Adley hasn't been that great lately, but it's Adley Rutschman, Right. It would be nice to kind of find out what this guy could do.
Yeah, I mean, we've been searching for one for 3 decades that can be a mainstay, and maybe he's it. I'm just a little bit jaded by Rays catchers and being able to do it all as far as defense and offense. So I put the green Skittles on him not being a do it all, but I could be wrong.
I feel bullish, and I know you guys can put it down in the comments if I'm way too bullish on him, but I read you guys the stats. I don't think this guy, the stats are what they are, and he has been incredible. Now, with the last couple of minutes, I think we should say the Rays did lose the series at the Bronx 3-1. They only won the first game.
It's about what we expected.
It's what we kind of expected. It kind of puts a hamper on this whole thing, but the really bad thing wasn't that Pepio dug himself a hole and kind of put the Rays out of commission so early with like 6 runs in the first 2 innings, but it was that Yandy Díaz got hit by a pitch in the first inning and he got taken out with right forearm contusion. He's day-to-day. Chandler Simpson was taken out of the game in the 3rd inning due to a left index finger sprain and is considered day-to-day. But Jonathan Aranda was taken out in the 5th inning with a wrist injury. Apparently, he will miss some time. That's an actual quote. And they're getting final word from the doctors, Kevin Cash said. But bottom line is he's going to be out for a while. So this presents a lot of different options for the Rays. Could this mean a Trey Morgan situation? Could this be a Bob Seymour situation? Could this be, hey, let's move Brendan Lowe to first base? Kim is feeling good. We can put Kim at second and keep Walls at short, or vice versa. It's going to be very interesting.
It is, and it's also going to be very difficult because you go from the Yankees to now the Dodgers. That is who the Rays will be playing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Luckily at home, but it is the Dodgers, so anything can happen. I would imagine all 3 games will be sold out because there are Dodgers fans everywhere, just like there are Yankees fans everywhere and Cubs fans everywhere and so forth. But it's like
Shohei will not pitch, by the way. He took himself out of the game he pitched last time, so but he should be playing against the Rays as a hitter.
Yeah, so as much as you don't want to see him do damage against the Rays, just take a moment to marvel at the talent of this individual and the unicorn powers of this individual, literally power. Because, and again, that's why, not to go off on a diatribe here, but that is part of the allure of the interleague games and the balanced schedule is you get that opportunity to see Shohei Ohtani in the NL West, where previously you might not be able to. But hopefully the Rays can salvage a victory or 2. Remains to be seen. We will talk about it all on Monday's program. In the meantime, thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Local analysis brought to you on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to those podcasts.